Good morning. Time check. It's 8:40 in the morning. I purposely do not want to put any makeup and do not want to fix myself. I'm in t-shirts. This is from Billy Graham t-shirts. I went to the Billy Graham crusade. Franklin Graham, or if any one of you knows him. Anyway, I just want to be original and I don't want to cover my real looks of how really God created me and what, I just want to be original and not try to be someone else. Good morning, guys. Whatever time you tune in and watch this video, I appreciate. I just want to respond because when I went to YouTube this morning, this blog went viral and I see this bloggers, a Filipina, whose name Yuri. So I have seen her video and the list goes on and on and on about the Filipina woman who's me, that she's referring to, about poor Filipina with no upbringing because, coming from poor and not have a high education, so therefore you have no good upbringing. And she said that when you don't have a good upbringing because you don't have a good family background, therefore you don't have a good family upbringing. So, and she also said that because she have a really good family background, therefore she have a really good family upbringing. And also, because she went to have herself a higher education, it really made herself a better person. Well, God bless you, Miss Yuri. Thank God that the higher education made you a better person. And it tells a lot about you when you make that video, plastering to the whole entire world, warning the whole entire man on earth, making sure not to marry a Filipina like me because I am poor and not have a high education, so therefore I don't have a really good upbringing. And according to your husband, because of being poor Filipina, not speaking really good English, and it would result for the foreign man to not have a better understanding with the relationship because of the poor English. Okay, I just wanna clear that really good. Okay? Okay. I am a living example of this because first of all, Yuri, I'm not trying to attack you because a lot of us Filipina already it's been attacking you and bullying you and I don't want to be the one like that, okay? I just want to be civil. I just want to be like, how would Jesus probably would react? Because first, when you are talking so little about us poor Filipina women and how we are not very well educated because of being poor. So, ma'am, I'm glad that you feel like you're a better person now because you went to high education and you have a better English than most of us poor Filipina women, which is good, really good for you. But but how should you handle that when you plaster those two Filipina women and mocking them of how they behave and what the language was? Just because they act like that, you just assume that they are very terrible person. Just because they wanted to sit down with that white men that were in the background almost next to them, doesn't mean that they're already terrible and really bad person, bad woman, just because they said things like, oh, let's go sit down next to them. Let's go sit down next to this foreign men. So if I were to sit down with the foreign man, does that mean I am a terrible person? Okay, let's go back up. I'm so happy that the higher education made you a better person, which this is why the entire world trying to bash you, or not trying, but bashing you because of the viral video that you made and became viral on YouTube. Not because of the good thing you did, but because of what? What have you done? Because you are talking so little about us poor Filipina woman and how you warn the entire world about this. Now, first of all, let me give you an example before I go to this. If the higher education made you a better person, then what made you think that you can just do a video like that and highly speaking so little about us poor women and how we are very uneducated and that the poor English will never work to a foreign man according to your husband, because the communication is so poorly that the foreign man supposedly will not have any patience with that kind of Filipina person because the poor language, you know. So how is it, I'm talking to your husband now, Yuri, you're Mr. whatever, Yuri. Okay, you both said that, or your husband said that you interviewed hundreds of people. Okay, what kind of people is this? Is this a Filipina people or foreign people? Are you interviewing hundreds of couple? You said, because you made an example about you already been talking to hundreds of people about this issue, about the poor English. Okay, so how is it okay? How is it that it's okay for a foreign man not to have patience to a Filipina, poor Filipina, uneducated, to understand because she doesn't speak well English, and to have patience with this Filipina? How is it that it's okay for the foreigner or to a husband or to a boyfriend, foreign husband to a Filipina, not to have patience to a Filipina because she doesn't speak English, and that it will be a poor communication? Okay, do you think that the American or the foreign people already know that? Do you think that it's the Filipina's fault? It's because she is poor and she cannot speak English? Then first of all, why did this foreign man chooses her anyway when he already know she can speak English? Okay, first of all, why is it okay that why do you bash for Filipina to not to speak really well English, and it's okay for a foreign not to have patience with her and not to have a really good communication with a Filipina because she cannot speak English? Really? So, okay, let me give you an example. I was married to an American man for 5.5 years and we have 2 children. Okay, my English is just the way I am now, how I talk to my American husband, ex-American husband. So, is it my fault that he abused me physically, emotionally, spiritually? Is because of my poor English? It's because I would cook for him, I lay his clothes, make his, his clothes ready in the morning for him to go to work, and basically take care of him. But I am poor. I have no good upbringing because I have no higher education. According to you, it made you a much better person because you have a higher education. Okay, first of all, if you are with God and if you're walking with God, no matter how the family situation is, if you have Jesus in your heart, that would already make you a better person. First of all, you don't need an education for someone who is poor to be better himself or herself, and just go to have a higher education so you can be a better person. Ma'am, I'm telling you, Jesus is a carpenter or was a carpenter. But wasn't he a better person? He humbled himself and lay himself, or he died himself for you, for all of us, because he loved us. Okay, first of all, when when Jewish people approached the prostitute, did Jesus plaster her? Did Jesus plaster the prostitute into the entire world, to the entire Bible, about not to marry this prostitute because she is a prostitute? What did Jesus said to the Jewish people? Whosoever without a sin cast the first stone first. So, again, what do you do if you met a prostitute woman? How do you handle it? Now, second example, when Jesus approaches the Samaritan woman who was at the well, and Jesus already know her life history, the woman has been with 5 men in her entire life. What did Jesus do to her? Again, did he plaster her into the entire world and warn the entire men on earth not to marry this woman is because she has been with 5 men in her life? What did Jesus do? If you know the Bible, or maybe you have not known the story, I would encourage you to read it. It's in John. It's in the book of John. The Samaritan woman who has been with many men in her life, what did Jesus do to her? Okay, so that's one of your assignment, to go research. Now your husband said you guys is been interviewing and asking a lot of people about this issue, but I think I would suggest to do your research more, because like I said, I have been married to an American who is been so abusive, and I've known 4 Filipina at least who is married to an American husband that's been abused. So, and I should make a video about it because I am a living testimony about it. Okay? Just to let you both know that you know, you really should do your research, really, because a lot of people already bashing you back. Like they said, don't do it to others if you don't want others do it into you. Well, you already taking your own medicine now, because everybody is reacting to your video. So now you're having your own cup of medicine because of that. The result of that is what happened to you now. And then you have a public apology about how sorry you were, and then later on come back with a video with your husband in it and justifying the whole thing. So is that really heartfully an apology to the person like me? You have no idea what other people's story is all about. If you know my story, then maybe you would open your eyes. But you know what? One of these days, maybe you should watch one of my video about being abused with the husband or American husband. You know? And maybe I should plaster that into the entire world too, and warn the entire Filipina community, people, or Filipina, not to marry an American because they're all abusive, right? I mean, I could say the same thing to your husband, but I could say, not all, most of the Filipina friend has that their husband are American, and they are really good. I mean, they are very sweet, treating my friends really well, you know. I mean, they are really good husband, and they're all American, you know. So, I could also bash all American because of my experience, you know. I can bash American men because of my experience, but have I done that? I could plaster it into the entire world, just like how you and your husband did, you know. And how should we approach if you encounter a Filipina just like the background of your video? Well, I already know how you approach that because you already plastered it into the entire world. How do you think Jesus would approach that kind of people? Because I already gave you the example when Jesus was with the prostitute woman. How did Jesus handle that? Did Jesus judge her because she's a prostitute? Did Jesus judge the Samaritan woman because she's been with 5 men in her life? I mean, how should we approach that kind of fellow citizen? Maybe we should approach them and reach out to them and say, hey, hi, maybe we should give an example to them. Maybe, like you said, you're right. Maybe they just don't know how to act the right way. But maybe in their heart, it's not what you see. You see, it's just like when people are fasting during holiday, like when Jesus died, like Black Friday, like, what do you call it? Lenten. If you're a Catholic, Lenten, we all already know that. We do fasting. We don't eat meat for 40 days because, it's a sacrifice of, because Jesus is sacrificing for us or whatever. What is fasting means? Anyway, we all know that if we're a Christians, we know, right? So it is not about the food that we don't eat because we're fasting. It's within our heart. It is not because of how we act on public. Oh, like those Filipina, you made an example behind your video because you heard the conversation, what they were saying. But to me, I don't think it was bad at all when they were just saying, oh, let's just go sit next to the foreigner. Okay, so what is wrong with that? Is there something wrong with that? Is that a sin to sit next to the foreigner? Maybe they just want to be friendly. Maybe you don't know what's their motive. You don't know what's in their heart. But for God, I don't think it's already sin. Oh my gosh, it's a big sin. The world is gonna come down because these 2 Filipina is going to sit next to this foreign people, foreigner or American or whoever they are. I mean, we cannot judge because of the action. God always judges whatever is in our heart. Do you understand that, Miss Yuri? Just because of how they act in public, they might act like a kid, they might act like oblivious or, obnoxious. It's because maybe they're happy but in their heart, maybe they're clean in their heart. It's always what's in our heart. Folks, this is what it's all about. God will never judge us. It's because of our actions sometimes that we just act like obnoxious. We act like very inappropriate. Is that a sin? Did God tell us to, except for like burning yourself with drugs, okay, talking about no upbringing. I met preacher's family here because I have been going to church. I met preachers, okay? Preachers in a church, in a big church, huge church, whatever, big congregations. Preachers himself go off with a pianist, okay? Sleep with other women, and this is a preacher's. And you talking about good, intact family, have good upbringing. Really? Preachers' kids will have sex in whatever woman they can find, would have drugs, would done drugs. So, for you to have an example about, good family background, will have good upbringing, not so, not all, okay? So, that's not true. Going to college to have a degree to make you much a better person, well, that to me, it's a myth. It is about the person. It is about your heart. So, do your research, you and both of your husbands, before you would justify of what you guys just did. And I am a living testimony about being abused by American men. So, God bless you. And guys, to my fellow citizen, to my fellow Filipino people, let's just forgive Yuri and let's just not bash anymore. I know it's more than bullying already and it's not good anymore. It's not nice. So, have a good day. And let's just all have peace and love in our heart. And God bless us all. Goodbye.